So anyway, money was plenty, and now I started getting fame. I went on CNBC, Bloomberg, CNN, started writing articles. Baruch Hashem, everything was going fine. But Hashem didn't send me to the world to do that. He didn't send you to the world to make money. Everything is mine, is what Hashem says. Everything is mine. Which means, if you want something, I'll give it to you. But if you don't use it right, I'll take it away. I'm only lending it to you. So as I continued, I started making myself feel better by every week somebody religious would come to my office, at least 2 or 3 times a week. I had an open door policy. Anyone that needs something could come to my office, whether it was someone that needed money for rent or someone that needed money for tzedakah, they'd come to the office. I would say on the average it was 2 to 3 times per week. Somebody religious would come to my office. Sometimes they'll tell us about Parashat Shavua. Sometimes they'll convince someone to do tefillin. Sometimes they'll just come to collect money. But nonetheless, they came. Now if we do the math, I had the office for about 15 years. But if we just use 10 years, and instead of using 2 or 3 times a week, we say once a week. Once a week, 52 times a year is 52 times. Times 10 years, 520 times. Which means that someone had 520 opportunities to tell me I'm a goy. To tell me that my lifestyle is wrong. To tell me that if I don't keep Shabbat, nothing else that I do matters. According to the Shulchan Aruch in 7 places, according to the Torah Bechtav, the one we got from Mount Sinai, Parashat Ki Tisa is one of them, and 11 other places. According to the Gemara, which is the foundation of the oral Torah, according to practically every single major rabbi that's ever written in history about Shabbat, even including the ones in this generation, and according to even a simple book that I recently read by a rabbi, a very tzaddik rabbi from Jerusalem named Rav Zavichi, Rav Pinchas Zavichi. He wrote a simple book, about this thick, about the blessing of Asher Yatzar. Asher Yatzar, simple blessing, the one that you say after you leave the bathroom. And also secondary subject is the halachot of when to say Yesh Merabah, in Kaddish. So Asher Yatzar is a very simple blessing. There's not really much to know about it, apparently, until you read this book. Yesh Merabah, you figure you say after you Kaddish. But there's halachot, who says it? So when he discusses this issue in this very, very simple book, at some point the issue of Shabbat comes up. And he says, of course, if someone that says Kaddish and he doesn't keep Shabbat, no one says Yesh Merabah. The question is why? He says because he's a goy. It's not considered Jewish according to Halacha. And he gives you 50 sources. 50 simple sources. So if he's writing about something like this in a very basic, simple book about Asher Yatzar, it's not even about Shabbat. We find out and we realize that the Halacha of who's considered a Jew and who's not is common language for anybody that's learning Torah. So when someone like me, or someone like Rav Mizrahi, that's been doing it for 22 years, or someone like Kvod Harav, is telling you, listen, if you don't keep Shabbat, you have a serious problem with Hashem, they're not kidding. This is basic level, first grade Torah. People that don't like to hear that they're not considered Jewish according to Hashem because they don't keep Shabbat, has nothing to do with me. I didn't write it. Hashem didn't ask me for permission. He wrote it, he gave it to Moshe, eventually I got it. I'm just telling you what he says, I'm a parrot. It has nothing to do with me. But if someone is going to write it in a book that's called Asher Yatzar, we know that this is common language for the religious people, the ones that learn Torah. we need to keep Shabbat.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.